I was born in the midst of revolution, the son of a preacher, the grandson of preachers, the great-grandson of preachers too. They were all Methodists, until you look beyond the Civil War. They preached on horseback and on foot, and in my dad's case, in a little white Fiat Spider. They preached of right and wrong, and grace and goodness, and believed it, I think, to their bones. They preached of stewardship, pay up in Methodist speak, and dutifully pass the collection plate for missions in faraway places and building funds at home. In the name of God and something they called sanctifying grace, they preached in the Old South and longed for a New South, but were silent, too silent, on the complicit and conspiratorial South I never came to see until I was fully grown. I was born in Alabaster, Alabama, a little crossroads outside Birmingham, with a Methodist church and a Baptist church in those days, a stop sign, and a set of railroad tracks. I was born on April 5th, 1963, in the willful ignorance of the white South. I never knew until much later that as my mother went into labor, the foot soldiers of revolution gathered across the county line, that at the moment of my birth, Birmingham readied for a battle that was long overdue. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. had not yet put his dream to words, but he had come to this town to change the world with another masterpiece. Birmingham, white Birmingham, didn't like King's arrival. Not the merchants, who mourned the lost dollar, or the cops, who demanded obedience. Not the Klansmen, who longed for the way things used to be, or the preachers, who feared the noise and glare and shining incongruities, who wanted so badly to stuff the powder back in its keg that they never saw the explosion coming, even as they lit its fuse. I was born in the midst of revolution, and I didn't even know. A week after my birth, 8 clergy members, Christians and Jews, printed a letter in the Birmingham News asking for the demonstrations to stop in the name of law and order and common sense. 8 white Birmingham men of God stood for the status quo. King read their words and understood exactly what they meant. It was the past coming for the present, a call to do nothing, again, to slow the roll of justice in the name of peace. It was cowardice masquerading as reason, silence in the guise of God. Martin Luther King Jr. read that letter and decided he would march in Birmingham, even as friends advised against it. He was too important, they said. Tensions were too high. Birmingham was too hot. They warned him he could be hurt, or killed, or kept in jail for months by Eugene Bull Connor's police department. But he marched, and was arrested a few hours later. It was Good Friday, the day Jesus was hung to die after being betrayed by silver and silence. It was April 12th. I was 7 days old. King was charged with parading without a permit, a crime deemed serious enough for solitary confinement. They put him in one cell, and his colleague Reverend Ralph David Abernathy in another, and there they stayed, for days. Connor, an active Methodist, thought Birmingham could keep King silent. Connor wanted him silent, because silence is safe, and law-abiding, and powerless. Silence doesn't march, or demonstrate, or demand justice, or force you to see yourself. Silence vanishes into the night, like those men in hoods in their 57 Chevys with whip antennas bent double. But what came out of that cell spoke louder than King ever had, up to then. What came out changed the city and the world, and screamed with a voice that would not be silenced.